Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency, with your host, Chris Troy.
St. Clair County RESA has been known for education throughout the years, but the earliest of those students who come and get involved with St. Clair County RESA are our little ones. My guest today at Dateline Schools is Becky Gorinac, the Director of Early Childhood. Becky, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
A new year's coming up, 2023. I bet there's all kinds of big things on the plate. One that I've heard about is Help Me Grow. Talk to me about that.
Well, Help Me Grow is national, and we are one of the affiliates in St. Clair County. It's really about helping families find out about the development of their children and also resources and programs to support them. One of the things that we have through Help Me Grow is a screener. It's kind of like a quiz. It's used nationally and actually internationally. It's the most widely used screener in the world. It's a series of questions that take maybe 10 or 15 minutes online and that ask them questions about their child's development. Using the screener, we can follow up with the parents to give them some information about kind of where their child is. The screener is for children really from about 1 month old all the way up to 5.5.
What's a bit of the history on Help Me Grow? Is this a new program that has just been started, or has it had a little bit of past history?
Well, it's not really a program. It's actually kind of it's a systems building approach to early childhood. It's really a way to help families connect with the programs and services in their community. So for us in St. Clair County, we're fairly new. We've been an affiliate for about 1.5 years, but this is a national program. In some states, the entire state is a Help Me Grow state. In Michigan, we're more grassroots, and it's county by county. I think there are about 15 counties right now that are Help Me Grow. It's a nice tagline for families. Like, thinking about Help Me Grow is, I'm trying to help my child grow. So it's a good thing to find.
Now, Becky, yesterday we talked a little bit about Help Me Grow. And you made the comment that it was like kind of almost a tool for parents to look online and find resources. So on these resources, would that be pediatricians? Would that be childcare? What would they find when they research Help Me Grow?
Well, the one nice thing about Help Me Grow is we have a care coordinator. It's a person that helps the families find exactly what you just talked about. I know it's really difficult to think about pediatricians and childcare. We have families who are looking for clothing or diapers. So having that care coordinator through Help Me Grow helps families navigate and find those resources based on what they need for their family. Yes, you can go online and do some research on your own, but it's kind of that person to help the families find what they need.
Now, the resources that are out there, do they come to you and say, look, we want to be part of this resource program? We have things to offer the community. How does that work with getting businesses involved with Help Me Grow?
It's kind of both. We've been doing early childhood in St. Clair County for a really long time. So we have partnerships with like the food pantries and clothing pantries, but also partnerships with WIC, which is Women and Infants and Children. So it's the people have heard about WIC and the benefits to that. We have connections with community mental health. So just a lot of the resources, but also the physicians. One part of Help Me Grow is having a better connection between families and physicians, because we know that children to be healthy and grow and develop, having that regular connection with a pediatrician is important.
Now, this seems like this is, for all the resources that are out there, this is a lot more than an economic thing. This is for really any family who's looking for information, right?
This is for any family. Like I said, whether it's preschool or anything else in the community, we can help them support their young children.
Now, what kind of age group are we looking at here for getting started in this program?
We typically work with families who have children from birth to kindergarten entry.
Now, Becky, you mentioned earlier about a screening test. Talk to me about that.
Sure. So what we use is, it's called Ages and Stages. Like I said in the beginning of this a couple days ago, that it's used internationally, but we always call it ASQ. So the ASQ, many of our families have had the ASQ in their doctor's office. That's usually on a piece of paper. Well, we've moved to having the ASQ online for children really from from birth almost, from 1 month all the way to their kindergarten entry at 5.5. But there's some different sections to that. It only takes parents about 10 to 15 minutes to fill out online. And then, as I said, we have a care coordinator through Help Me Grow who will see the results of that screener or that little quiz, and then they can follow up with parents to say, hey, it seems like your development's on track, or there's some areas of, kind of want to watch this and give you some pointers on some things to do at home. Or there might be some things that point us in where we might want to do some further referral to something, depending on their age. We have Early On, or Build Up Michigan. Both of those are kind of digging deeper into to see if there are some delays that we need to tackle. But the 5 areas that are covered in the ages and stages is there's communication. So for example, for a 16-month-old, one of the questions would be does your child say 4 or more words other than mommy and daddy? For fine motor, does your child turn pages in a book? For gross motor, does your child walk well and seldom fall? For social emotional, does your child get your attention or try to show you something by pulling on your hand or clothes? Or do they solve problems, such as does your child scribble back and forth when you give them a crayon, pencil, or a pen? So it's a really nice screener just for parents to kind of gauge where their child is, and then we can help them with programs and supports and follow-up.
Now, if a parent goes through this and sees these highlights, no, my student's not doing this, or not my child's not doing this, should there be a sense of alarm, like, oh no, what's going on? Or is this kind of an average, some students do better than others?
Yes, we know that all children develop at a different pace. And so when you get the results, that's why we have a care coordinator who can kind of talk to you. They can either talk to you in email, phone, and talk about where they are with development, give some tips and things that they could do, or point you in directions of some resources. And if there are some delays, that's okay. We have programs and services to help support your family and your child.
Now, Becky, we talked about the exam that parents would take a look at. Depending on the results of that, what programs do we offer here in St. Clair County that would really help their student move along?
Well, one of them is actually we have free preschool options in St. Clair County. There are a couple of different options depending on like where you live and some other factors. So we have Head Start. Head Start has been around in the United States since the 60s, and so Head Start is for they have early Head Start for younger children, but talking about preschool is 3 and 4. So Head Start has programs in Port Huron. They have a large campus in Port Huron. They have a classroom in Yale and in Marine City. And then we also have something called Great Start Readiness Program, which we call GSRP. And that's a free preschool for 4-year-olds. And every one of our 7 local school districts has a classroom or more. And we also have GSRP classroom at Kitty Campus in Marysville and at the YMCA in Port Huron. The nice thing about having preschool options for children is it really helps them get ready for kindergarten. They do a lot of things the biggest thing is social emotional, helping children learn. They're going from a family with maybe a couple of kids in the family, and they're going into a classroom with maybe 14, 16 children, taking turns and making friends and learning all of those things about what it's like to be in school is really important, that they have that first step in preschool before they get into kindergarten. But then we also do a lot of learning through play, of course, because that's how young children learn best. So they think they're playing all day, but they are learning how to write their name, they're learning their ABCs, what the sounds are in the letters, they're learning how to count, colors, shapes, all of those pre-math and pre-literacy development that happens that's really important for kindergarten.
And now, Becky, you talked about the tests, the contact information, some of the classes, but what else besides early child care, play groups or things, does St. Clair County RESA offer?
Well, glad you mentioned play groups. One of the things we know is that parenting really doesn't come with a manual. So one of our hidden gems is the fact that we have something called home visiting. It's our Great Start home visiting program. We use a nationally recognized curriculum and program called Parents as Teachers. And sometimes the word home visiting makes people think, well, wait a minute. But I call it's like having a teacher come into your home and give you one-on-one preschool. Our home visiting is for children 0 to 5. Again, our programs are usually before kindergarten. It's all about kindergarten readiness, kind of having that teacher come into your home and help you narrow in on the things you want your children to learn, whether, I want help with toilet training or I want to help my child learn their ABCs. All of those things, that having that parent educator come to them. But the piece to that, we also have our play groups. And so play groups is a great place for children to come together in a socialization group. They sing songs, they have snack, they play in our play group, and it looks like a little preschool, so that gives them that opportunity to come and practice. But it's really that socialization piece. And we have play groups across the whole county, from most of our school districts, et cetera. And we actually have a play group right here at Marysville.
If a parent wants to learn more about Help Me Grow, what do they do?
Well, our care coordinator is Shannon Baker, and her number is 810-455-4009. Or you can, simply Google our website, St. Clair County RESA. And if you put in, I just did it before the interview, if you put in St. Clair County Help Me Grow, we are the first thing that comes up as well. So, but it's on the St. Clair County SCCRESA.org.
For Dateline Schools, I'm Chris Troy. Dateline Schools is a presentation of St. Clair County RESA.